computer, and I'll later. Not edit it, but I will post it up on my phone. Now that I can do that. All right. So as you can see, um, I was looking stuff up for doing this. I didn't do everything as far as research, so I will have more. Like I said, this is a series, so I can get what do you call it? More information to you guys related to this case. So this is an article by Leah Nelson. That would be her right here. In the Appleseed Center for Law and Justice. I'm actually working on this blog right now and putting my own spin on it. I use her as a source, and I use YouTuber Amazing Lucas somewhat as a source. He is the inspiration for this. Doing this because I wanted to look more on it. That's from the angle that these guys are. And I would like to thank Leah if she does ever watch this or this gets to her peripheral for responding to me. I'm glad that you did. And I won't show per se what you wrote, but I will talk about it. So let's go with the lines. Again, I want to give credit to the Alabama Appleseed Center for Law and Justice and for the research director, Leah Nelson, whose article I'm taking this from. So all credit to her, and also, as usual, my legal disclaimers so that this doesn't come up and I don't get in trouble for it at work. These are the thoughts of me, my own, the show, and not of the corporation that I work for. I want to stress that. Each video I put out, whether it's Veteran Talk or A Political Corner, will never be under the purview and acceptability of Lindsay's Aviation. I just want to let you guys know that. I have to put that under there according to the social media policy that is in there, and that does cover YouTube, and that does cover podcasting. So I just wanted everyone to know that legally I cannot, under the corporation that I work for, make these videos and let them get the flack. This is all under me, Veteran Talk, and A Political Corner when I do those videos, and do say the shit that I do say. Also, under the other videos, A Political Corner, I will never, I mean never, justify what I put on there. Or use my family as props. I don't feel I need to. Yeah, I do talk about my Asian side. That is my direct family. That is not who marries into my family. So, and this will touch on this too, because from reading this in the way I do for military veterans or active duty or reserves, National Guard, I mean, it just, yeah. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to, even if I take the elements that they do as a justice, sorry, as a social justice website, if I take those bits out and just focus on him being a veteran and being a man, I mean, there's no way of putting it down. I mean, they made the mistakes. They didn't do due diligence like I am. But then again, uh, it is up to the state, the court, and the officer himself on how this proceeded. And like I'm saying in my blog, once I get more, once I can get his discovery, once I can get more and see into this case, what they used for evidence to do all this, and then the judge's decision that certain stuff isn't being followed through the lawyers. Once I find out who the lawyers are and talk to them, I mean, but cut and dry, I mean, from, this site and what I've looked up for the Alabama law, um, and this isn't supposed to be used for legal because it says in there that the purpose of the Alabama's Veteran Court Guide. This guide is intended to assist veteran service members, their family, and practitioners in understanding and utilizing the Alabama court system. It is not solely intended to provide general information about civil legal matters and is not to be interpreted as legal advice. It's not intended to be an exhaustive treatise on these areas of law. Further research into these legal issues is likely needed. Any acts described in this pamphlet are subject to change at any time. It's only supposed to be a guide in conjunction with the Alabama State Bar as a resource and reference for veteran service members and their families and practitioners who may be involved in the legal system for a variety of reasons. And this offers programs and resources to assist attorneys and the public. So, I mean, even what I'm looking at here isn't foolproof and shouldn't be used as a righteous source. But yeah, this was last updated in 2014. Now I'm trying to figure out if there is anything as far as 2015 or if they updated this. Um, so, um, let's go with the story real quick, all right? So, the story is a disabled black veteran with prescribed medical marijuana in his car played air guitar while pumping gas in Alabama. Now he's going to prison. Looking up on Sean himself in the corrections, he is still in jail. And I think they'll have him do his 5 years in jail. The big worry I do have is what else does he have from his service other than his traumatic brain injury with cognitive issues? What else does he have other than that can pose a threat to him here in Alabama, that Alabama isn't trying to at least put him in a halfway house or put him up for release during the COVID-19 crisis? And that's what I want to know. Because as everybody knows, PTS, because I'm going to go with post-traumatic stress, it's not a disorder. They only put it in there so that you can get mental health resources for it, because the VA hasn't tried to do many studies on it. I mean, we have these individual studies now that we're going through, and anyone who is a candidate for PTSD will get their stuff in the mail for these studies to go through it and do more for it. And let's be honest here. They're getting more and more into it. Um, but they're trying just for veterans to put it in as PTSD is combat related. And as much as I've railed against this, I mean, combat veterans, and I put that pejorative there for a reason, are the ones who should be getting help first. Um, Not saying that I don't get help and that I don't need help, but because they were out there in the field getting shot at, getting mortared, or on the base getting shot at, or getting mortared, or artillery, or blown up. Whether or not, if you are in country, you should get your help first. Other than those who are in an ally nation and saw stuff that doesn't happen here. I mean, happens now with these riots, but it didn't really happen before. Um, where you watch anger boil up, cities, towns get destroyed. Um, some of the stuff that I saw about rain. So with that, we'll go in with this. So Pickens County, and I actually have a chart here for the Alabama Veterans Treatment Court. This right here is Pickens. So in this chart, as you can see, Pickens is next to Tuscaloosa. In Alabama, there is no Veterans Treatment Court there. And yeah. So let me preference first for this Veterans Treatment Court, or as they call it, veteran courts. Okay. What it is if you have a mental disorder or you have a substance abuse that makes you act out in a certain way that's undistinguishable to society, you actually get a chance to go over to these courts, and they will meet with your provider, your mental health provider, and your health provider, and they will speak with them. That's some of these courts. Other than that, you have to go to a licensed therapist for these courts, speak to that licensed therapist, and that licensed therapist will either say that you are a great fit for this court or treatment program, and you should be accepted into there. And what you do is you go through the treatment, you get out, and then you have 6 months from that treatment that if you do no bad, that all charges will be dropped. And these are non-violent offenses, by the way. So it's not like you can beat the shit out of somebody, go through it for mental health, and then, bide your time for 6 months. If anyone knows how time is relegated by the mind of a veteran, there is no months, there is no days, and there is no years. I mean, we can try to keep a grasp on the concept of time, but it just goes through. I always think of it like we have deployment line. You count your days, you count your hours, you count your weeks until you go back home. When you're back home, it's like, oh, I just need to remember that I need to be out of, my home state by this time, or country that I'm in by this time. If I'm not, or I forget, you're either AWOL in the Army and the Marines, in the Air Force, or you've missed ship movement according to the Navy. I mean, we have AWOL, but the most important is that you have it checked into your command. So you're not so much AWOL, but you're missing ship's movement. And then when you get out, it's just like everything blurs. Everyone else is noticing this, but for us, it just blurs. Um, you know, I can only tell you, oh, it's Wednesday, so it's my Friday. Oh, I didn't fucking think about that because I'm working. That's my main focus is at work or at home. My main focus is what I'm doing with the podcast, with the blog, and my wife. And it all blurs together within the day. Um, so, um, as you can see, Pickens County does not have a Veterans Treatment Board. Sean and Ebony Worsley's nightmare began with music that a police officer found too loud for his liking. In August of 2016, and the Worsleys were on their way east, heading from a visit with Ebony's folks in Mississippi to surprise Sean's family in North Carolina. Sean's grandmother had been displaced by a hurricane, and he was hoping to rebuild her house. The couple had some venison in the trunk of their car, a gift from Ebony's dad, a hunter, that they planned to share with Sean's family. Sean, now 33, is a disabled veteran with a traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder from his deployment in Iraq. He used medical marijuana to calm his nightmares and soothe his back pain. His medical marijuana was in the back seat. He got the prescription in Arizona, where medical marijuana has been legal since 2011. Sean was walking into the gas station when Officer Carl Abramo of the Gordo, Alabama Police Department approached the car. He told the Worsleys their music was too loud. He asked to search the vehicle. The Worsleys assented. Sean's marijuana was legally prescribed. They thought they had nothing to hide. They were wrong. And now Sean was sentenced to 5 years in Alabama's violent, drug-filled, corrupt prison system because of it. Okay. So from that, and this is the social justice part, this is the race part. Yeah. Okay. Um, so we can see that Alabama does not yet have a medical marijuana law, or they'll look the other way for medical marijuana or even recreational marijuana. So, okay, he has marijuana. Fine. Already know that it's illegal. So, taking that aspect out of it, 5 years for medical marijuana. That seems steep. By all accounts, that seems very steep, right? You're like, oh my God, he got 5 years just for medical marijuana that you can get in another state? Oh my gosh. Um, oh no, he's in prison because of this. Let's go on. On August 15, 2016, at 11:08 p.m., so 23:08, Officer Carl Abramo was stationed across from the Jet Pep on Highway 82, a major east-west thoroughfare that runs from New Mexico to Georgia. According to an arrest report filed 5 days after the incident, it takes 5 days for you to file a report about something that happened that day. You are a shitty police officer. I'm gonna shit on this police officer, and this is widely known. I am not doxing this person. It is widely put into his police report that's public. And then this center doing the same thing. So this is public knowledge. This is not doxing. I don't have his home address. But you have got to be the shittiest police officer to not be able to file your police report that day. I don't understand or know what their procedures are, but I think that'd be a very, very steep, very steep thing that they file their that they're allowed to file their police reports 5 days after the incident. I don't know. This smells cover up to me. And this is a cover up against a veteran. I don't know if Officer Abramo served, but you don't wait 5 days to file a police report on an incident that happened that day. Now, maybe because of legal concerns, um, yeah, they waited. But even then, that right there just shows that it's a miscarriage of justice. Right there, that takes 5 days for you to file an incident. Um, that's just no, that is horrible. I don't care. It should not take you 5 days from the incident to work out your story that you're gonna file. I gotta wonder. Probably not. They probably didn't have cams on them at this time. Um, and even if you had to look at the footage to make your police report all sunny, no, that's not what you do. A police report is done by the officer of his recollection. That is what a report is. It is a witness statement, basically, by the police officer of what happened, what took place on that patrol, of that incident. Not, oh, let's go look at the cameras and make sure that this is all correct, that we're crossing our I's or dotting our T or crossing our T's and dotting our I's. No, that is not how that goes. You deal with the backblast after you file your report, after it comes up. Okay, that those police cams are essentially witnesses. It's not so that you can make yourself look good by waiting. So this already smells of fucking dirtiness. If he filed his police report, his arrest report, 5 days after the incident, this right here should be at least he should have his case looked at again. This is ridiculous. But I'm gonna keep going. He heard loud music coming from the vehicle and observed a black male get out of the passenger side vehicle. All right, we already know that that is standard in the police report. You have to give a description of the person, what side of the vehicle they come up. So, I mean, they're just picking on the they're just picking on that part. But I'm pretty sure it's the black male got out of the passenger side vehicle while dancing and listening to loud music. All right, they were pulled up at a pump, and the black male began playing air guitar. There you go. There's more of that police statement. Dancing and shaking his head. He was laughing and joking around and looking at the driver while doing all this. This is out of the. This is after 5 days. This is what you come up with after 5 days. This is your arrest record right here. Your arrest report. Really, sir? Mr. Abramo, because you're no longer a police officer. You quit the force. So I mean, this is what you come up with after 5 days. After 5 days, this is your recollection. Really, this is all you have. The couple was Sean and Ebony Worsley, who had stopped a few miles from the Pickens County border to refuel their car. Abramo told them their music was so loud it violated the town's ordinance. Okay, fine. Here we go. Now we're getting to the center of it. They violated the town's noise ordinance. They're, finally, we're getting to something. If it's anything, we're getting to something. Thank God. Finally, we're at where we need to be. Um, but they turned it down. According to the arrest report. So I, so they turned it down, and you smell marijuana and asked the couple about it. and you're told that this man is a disabled veteran and tried to give him his medical marijuana card, and you explain to him that Alabama did not have medical marijuana, and you place the suspect in handcuffs. So you're like, well, sir, we don't have medical marijuana in this state. Can you please turn around so I can put your hands in handcuffs? And then you call for three more officers, or you call for backup, and three more officers arrive. Ebony explained that they were unaware of the medical marijuana was prohibited in Alabama. This is where I say that she did not do due diligence. This is not her fault. It is, but it isn't. Yes, she should have known that there was no medical marijuana. So you do something in accordance to it. But then again, they were just told by the police officer that this was not allowed in the state of Alabama. It you see where I'm getting at. It's not so much miscommunication. It's the fact that both sides that she didn't do her due diligence, all right, and that the police officer decided, oh yeah, this isn't allowed. Sorry, sir. Turn around. You're under arrest. Really? This is this is what it's came down to. It's not a ticket. You won't give them just a ticket for this. It's, oh yeah, you're under arrest because of marijuana. Not the original charge of you know uh noise ordinance violation. Nope, nope, nope. They turned it down. They corrected that. You can't correct medical marijuana in your vehicle in a state that doesn't allow medical marijuana. Yeah, no, you just can't ticket them and then send them on their merry fucking way. No. Uh, and this is where it gets dicey. So, okay, according to the arrest report, she told Abramo the marijuana was in the back seat. So she volunteered herself. They volunteered. You see how this gets dicey. So here's what goes on. All right. So he goes, hey, can I search your car? She tells him before he searches that they have medical marijuana in the back. He's like, okay. He's like, you do know that that is not allowed here in Alabama. She says, no, sorry, I didn't do my research. He goes in. That's the first thing he spots. Okay, he goes in. He's looking for marijuana. Bam, finds it. While searching the car, he finds marijuana. So that's his medical marijuana, rolling papers, and pipe. So stuff to smoke it in. It they don't come. Medical marijuana doesn't come in fucking doobies that you do that. No, it comes in a fucking prescription bottle that you have to open up and you have to do all that. You have to put it on a little scale and measure how much you can have and all that. Along with a six-pack of beer and a bottle of vodka and some pain pills, Ebony had a prescription for it. Okay, so I mean, they're just to anyone who doesn't know the facts of the case, um, such as he's a veteran and that's his wife. They're looking pretty fucking poor here. I mean, this is pretty fucking bad. Um, and arrested them for all of it. Pickens County is one of 23 partially dry counties, so it is technically illegal to possess alcohol there, though in practice the rule is only enforced against violators who are profiting from itself. So this is looking just ah this officer is just looking just oh he is looking so good right now. Sorry, I have to do something. I'm stopping it and I'm going to pause it real quick. Okay, here we go back. share screen. But yeah, this is, I mean, this is just getting ridiculous. Um, so I mean, he just, so this officer decided to charge them for possessing an intent to sell marijuana. I mean, this is what I'm gathering from this. All right, the intent to the possession and intent to sell alcohol in a dry county, um, and the intent possession and the intent to sell prescription prescription pills. Those are all felonies. I don't know who would prescribe that as a felony. Um, but this is what he arrested him for. I mean, from all that, that's what I got. But here, so he arrested him for that and for violating the noise ordinance and illegal possession of marijuana and paraphernalia. Ebony's pills weren't in the original bottle, which Abramo claimed that constituted a felony. He put handcuffs on her himself. And this is Sean and his wife Ebony. Says in happier days. In 2016, the year the Worsleys were arrested, black people were more than 4 times likely as white people to be arrested for marijuana in Alabama. So taking that out of here, because even though everyone loves their statistics, I just I'm making this is a veteran, okay? Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. This is a veteran. This is a veteran show. Um, but they both spent 6 days in jail. Their lives would never be the same. Marijuana is a Schedule I controlled substance, meaning that the federal government views it as illegal in all instances. Alabama hews to much of the same line, except for extremely narrow exceptions involving CBD. Possession of any amount can be a felony. First-time possession is charged uh, as a misdemeanor if the arresting officer thinks it was for personal use. All subsequent instances of possession are felonies. So they charged him with a felony. What did they think that they had that would call this a felony and not a misdemeanor for personal use? And again, I haven't seen it, and I'd like the discovery because I've heard of a scale being used or being found in the car. Well, if you know anything about marijuana and medical marijuana, they don't come out with doobies like recreational marijuana. You have a bottle, then you have to take it home to a scale, and you have to portion it right by the way that they want you first to do it. It's not, oh, go home, fucking put all this, and we'll put it in baggies and sell it on the street. No, you have to put it on a scale, and you have to measure out what it says on the bottle first. Then, if you don't think that's working, then you go back to whoever prescribed it to you and tell them, hey, guess what? This amount isn't working. Then they put a bigger they put it out, but you still have to use a scale. This is why I say they had a scale on the car, is because if the arresting officer believes the marijuana is for other than personal use, then possession of any amount can be charged as a felony, even if it's an individual's first time being arrested for possession. So, again, it doesn't matter. All language is it's possession other than personal use with intent to sell. That's oh, this motherfucker. 5 days to get his story straight. 5 days to get his arrest report fucking finished. And oh, I found this. So yeah, he gets felony. She gets felony. Uh, noise ordinance, misdemeanor. Just this is the topping of this fucking cake. Oh, god damn it. That's what happened to the Worsleys, even though Sean's marijuana was legally obtained via a prescription and packaged in a prescription bottle. Bravo booked him for possession other than personal use, a Class C felony. Ebony received same charge, though it was later dropped. Bramo, who no longer works for the Gordos Police Department and can't be reached for comment, which I wonder why. This is a black mark and a black stain on his record as a police officer. Takes a dim view of those he deems to be criminals. So why does she say that? Because she looked at his Facebook page. And it's a mishmash of everything that MPs and law enforcement officers have, which is pro-law, and I mean, certain things can be misconstrued as xenophobic on such a thing because you're following the law, not following your heart. It's exactly what this police officer did, but he did it in another kind. He it certainly seems like he's circumventing the law when he wrote this police report. He did it 5 days after the incident, and they were held on these charges, detained with these charges. I think he bumped it up though in his police report, which is why I want to get the discovery for Sean and Ebony so that I can see what all they charged him with, what got promoted up, and all that. So, and anyway, as anything else, if it doesn't fit your point of view, it's racist. And this is the one thing is he shared the July 2019 meme of homeless veterans should be taken care of before Muslim refugees. Yet he put a disabled veteran into jail because he broke the law, but he's put a homeless veteran should be taken care of before Muslim refugees. How about this, Mr. Abramo? How about this? How about we treat our veterans with some shred of fucking respect before we take in any migrants? How about that? But no. And this is true, though. Things would have gone differently if the Worsleys had been traveling through most of the states where recreational and medical marijuana is allowed. That is true. That there is no lying on that one or anything else. That is true. They would be like, oh, okay, you got your card, cool. Just remember that this can be considered trafficking. Think that this can be in states where they frown upon this. Guess what? Uh, you know, this could look bad on you. It happens a lot uh, here in Colorado where people go through with marijuana and they get stopped and get told, they get ticketed, and you can pay off that ticket and all that. So, and it is commonly used by veterans. Medical marijuana is used by veterans to manage symptoms of PTSD and other things we suffer during service. Um, I don't use it because I work at the airport. I don't use a lot of products because I get piss tested pre and during my time. I again, that's I don't do it. I hurt. I take I take ibuprofen, and that's about it for all the pain I have. Which Sean suffered from both as a result of his military service, for which he was awarded a Purple Heart. I have to wonder. Um, I have to wonder if he did not have any type of special plate on his vehicle, and not for recognition, for his service, but to let you know, hey, guess what? This he's a Purple Heart, and that Purple Heart service member, and that's why he has a disability tag on his vehicle, aiding up in his vehicle. Um, you know, uh, and yeah, in this climate that we have now, you ask questions, and I'm pretty sure that anyone who knows anything about these stolen valor hunters, um, you whip out your VA card, and if they call you a fake, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because you don't get a VA card by you can BS the VA, but they have your service record there. It has everything from your medical record all the way up to your accomplishments. And they use that for these disability investigations. So again, um, so again, I can't believe that he didn't have some sort of Purple Heart plate or U.S. Army plate on his car, no matter what state he was in. I don't see that as a misnomer, because he's about the same age as me. Um, he could be a little bit older than me. Um, but no, I mean, and I can't imagine his wife. Um, I can't imagine how she's feeling right now. I really can't. Um, and I feel bad for you, me. I really do. And if you do know the Worsleys, can you please have her email me? I sent her an email. I know that this is a rough time for her. Um, her husband has been taken away. They got put through this, and all this. And I want her to tell the story to the audience, because this is where I'm getting at, is do not just let somebody go because they are a veteran. These courts have them accept the responsibility that what they did was wrong, is wrong, and that they can be better than that by going through treatment programs. This is a rehabilitation program, not a bigger recidivism program. And I would love to see anybody who can go through this discovery and point out all the bad things that are going on. I would love to see a lawyer contact me through the email, because I'll put the email down. Contact me through the Veteran Talk email and walk me through this. I think that this needs to be highlighted because this is disgraceful. He's 100% when he was 28 in 2015. Okay, according to the benefit summary letter. And that's what you get when you get benefits. They give you a summary letter telling you how much they're going to give you, what that is, how much gets taxed, and all that. And this is why I say I go with the veteran angle and not he's a black man with marijuana, she's a black woman with pills. You know, bam. Let's fucking get them in a predominantly white state. No, I'm not going with that angle because this is a brother in arms, his wife going through this, and the um, and the fact that this police department is just like, fuck it, whatever. We don't need to, we don't need to take anything into service. That this judge, said, we're going to do this for you guys. And then, VA doesn't do this because it's medical marijuana. Oh no, we need to get them back here and throw him in prison for 5 years. It does happen like that. It does. It does. It's happened to people I know where they try to keep in touch with lawyers, and all of a sudden they get yanked up because it's not the kind that they want. It's not what the court wants, so they're not going to give you any more leeway. But back to this. So it says he suffers from TBI with seriously impaired his short-term memory. So he's got traumatic brain injury with cognitive disability, cognitive difficulties. And basically what that is me and him could have a conversation and he wouldn't remember that conversation. But something that happened in the Army just comes right fresh. If you guys have listened to my recommendations, Zero Blog 30, Uncle Chaps, the same thing happened to him, but he got shot in the head when he was a dog handler. And he has TBI with cognitive difficulties. And he's fresh when it comes to handing out Firewatch, remembering stuff from the Marine Corps. He's just not there with certain conversations and certain things. Again, that's not his problem. That's not Sean's problem. That happened in service. Let's be honest here. You go through a certain amount of difficulties when you sign your name on that contract, even though you're like, yes, hand me everything on that plate and let me have it. Still, there are things that are beyond an expectation that you should go through. I think people think that the military, of course in the military, you should expect to A, be injured, A, be killed, and have everything that goes with it. That is an expectation when you sign that dotted line. But to come back and face a court that doesn't take any of that into consideration, no, you didn't sign up for that. And no, you weren't explained that. You were explained that you will get special privileges being a veteran once you get out. Not you're going to go into jail for 5 years and no one gives a shit about you, especially the law that you protected during your service. And if it seems like I'm fired up, I'm pissed about this shit. because what I am reading, probably should have been taken into effect. I mean, PTSD, depression, nightmares, back and shoulder pain. I wonder how he got that. Was he being lazy and getting beat by the cops? No, he was in an IED blast. I don't think people actually understand. I didn't until I heard stories from service members who were in IED blasts. They say it's like standing over a mortar and then getting blasted out of your boots. It's like TNT throwing you back, not pushing you, but throwing you. And your brain has to reprocess everything after it happens. And there are injuries. Um, and it does suck. And I hate how, we have this hero worship, but at the same time, you have counties like Picken County who are like, oh, because, you have all this, you're going away. Or we'll give you so much leeway, but, um, depression were so debilitating that the VHA determined he required a caregiver. Ebony, then 30, took on that role. So she is his VA prescribed caregiver. Sean's dependence level was high, requiring maximal assistance with planning and organizing, safety, risks, sleep regulation, and recent memory, and total assistance with self-regulation. He responded poorly to the various antidepressant, antipsychotic, and pain medications doctors prescribed. That is nothing new. That it will sometimes not work, it will sometimes work, and then veterans go over to the medical marijuana industry because it helps. Because she's a caregiver, she can't work because she needs to be there every time of the day. She couldn't work, leaving the couple dependent on Sean's checks from the VA. When he could, he supplemented that with part-time work as a roofer and gigs as a recording engineer. Ebony went with him to his doctor's appointment. She helped him keep track of his schoolwork when he sought a business degree to transform his freelance work as a recording engineer into a business. I think what people don't realize is you have your state-run disability and you have your VA disability. You can still work whatever the percentage, except for 100 and non-employable. But to me, it doesn't seem like he signed the non-employable. But even still, you could still make a little bit, if anything, from it. It doesn't tell you can't totally work. It just tells you can only hold a certain amount of hours, or because you're 100%, you probably shouldn't be working. And it's troubling. It's troubling because it's yes, they knew they made a mistake. She admitted to it. It's in the police report. You see this. I have the article right here, and yeah, I skip over parts where it highlights his race, but I only do it because this is about veterans, not a racial veteran show. But yeah, the VA does not prescribe or fill out prescriptions for medical marijuana, and they have told their clinicians do not recommend it. In light of marijuana's efficacy in treating ailments common among veterans such as pain and PTSD. Yes, the VA has started to become more tolerant uh, around veterans who use it. Before, if you pissed hot, you lose everything, or you lost everything. So, and I'll bring this up later. Um, if the veteran does ask about it, they are now encouraged to um, discuss it. Which I mean, it's basically, I don't think you should do it. That's the discussion. It's not, oh, this is the health benefits for it. It's usually, it's a still a, controlled substance that you probably shouldn't be using if you have a firearm or anything like that, because the ATF takes very doesn't believe that it helps and is still a government agency that will take your firearms away if you use medical marijuana. It's happened. It's been happening. Not so much so frequently, um, but yeah, when it first came out, yeah, they did do that. A social worker at the VA in Arizona, where Sean received medical care, said it's common among her clients, and she has seen how helpful it can be for people suffering PTSD. Uh, so I'm going to say Ellis English is probably, because he's a first line supervisor. Uh, what? Staff sergeant? Sergeant first class? And Sean was in Iraq from 2006 to 2007, so it's not like it's new. He was there in the rough times. He was there when I was in school still, in boot camp. So, he was there when the action was still going off and popping off. It's not like today, um, where stuff happens to service members and they can't go out and go on patrols. They were in the thick of it, in patrols, in the cities, doing everything they could to be a peacekeeping mission and not keep Iraq in a war footing hold. It was more like, yeah, occupation, as some would say. Um, it says, like Sean, he suffers from PTSD as a result of his deployment. Unlike Sean, he has been unable to use medical marijuana. Here's why. He retired from the Army in 2018, lives in Honolulu. But he works for the federal government, so he can't. Okay, so that's why he can't. Not because it's being, taken away from him and he can't do anything. It's fully in fact because he works for the federal government. So there we go. Uh, he had tried it once. Oh, following his retirement, before he probably got into government service, during a flare up, he felt relaxed, didn't have any pain, no headaches, almost felt normal. It, he remembers Sean, what he was like before the TBI, and I mean, you know, remembers the incidents. So Sean was a Humvee driver, it looks like, on dangerous missions, and so they were looking for and dismantling IEDs. Was he EOD? Huh. He might have been EOD, actually. Or maybe they were, no, EOD was, huh, or blows up. They can't. Oh, okay, so they were the quick reaction force, blocking, blocking Force, okay? Because it said had to go pick up the bodies when the helicopter shot people down. So it's yeah, okay. So all right, and then here's a picture of him before he went in the military, apparently. So um, so and of course, after incidents of post-traumatic stress disorder, people become unreliable. They zone out. They don't take care of themselves. Everything goes bad. They clutch. Um, they weep. I do that sometimes. Um, uh, but said one night he showed up in English's room, weeping and clutching his rifle. Of course, as NCO, you have to think the worst. And unfortunately, you have to take them off the line. You know, that's I think that's the thing that kills people the most, right? Is not so much of what you can do, but the fact that you have to take a good soldier who suddenly becomes unreliable, then you have to take him off the line because he didn't feel safe with Sean driving. And I can guarantee you, probably because he would go fast, be reckless, wouldn't look for stuff that he should be looking for, which is part of a driver's job. If anything looks hairy, you have to, find somewhere else to go. You don't stay on target. I think that there's some people who have this unrealistic goal that you stay on target. No, you try to find another way out. You have to look for exits as a driver. And that is realism. Everyone is scared. Everyone is shitting themselves, but no one cares because they signed a contract. And then, you'll have nerves and all that. And when people finally lose it, um, it stops caring. Um, and you're not going to be the same after all that stuff that they went through. And Sean spent 5 years in the military, and he was out, honorably discharged in 2008. Um, and then he served another 2 years in the Army Reserves. And then it says here, neither his service nor his Purple Heart, not his prescription mattered in Pickens County. So they spent 6 days in jail. And this is where and I can only imagine they were asking, pleading, wondering why, where, and how. Uh, you know, this could happen. When are they going to go see a judge and all that? And it just 5 days out of that 6 days was to get charged, and the sixth day was to go see a judge. I mean, he couldn't file his police report the next day, day two of them being in jail. I mean, or even on the first one. But 6 days in jail, and you're not even charged yet officially, because the charges and the arrest record don't show up until that report is done. So, I mean, so they were holding them, and I know you got 14 days to hold somebody, or like 72 hours, something like that. I forget which one it is, but you can hold them while you do your report. But I mean, 6 days is a little heavy, in my opinion, to be holding somebody for. I mean, well, you do your police report 5 days after. I mean, it's like they didn't even care. Or sussing out the charges by talking to the DA. But even then, the DA should have been, have you filed your report? No, I haven't filed my report. Well, I'm not talking to you until you do. I mean, and I get that, certain small police departments don't get the same funding as big police departments. I mean, we get that. We understand that. But 5 fucking days. I mean, that had to have been a lot of police calls. That's why I said I want to see the discovery. And then I'm thinking I'm gonna do a FOIA on his on the officer's police record, to see if he has done police reports 5 days later, how many calls he's done in a day or even a shift. I think I'm gonna go with that too. But they were released on bond, and it wasn't cheap. On top of the fees of the bail bondsman, they had to pay $400 to get their car at an impound, and the meat. They didn't even have the courtesy to take the meat out. They just kept it in the trunk. So of course it's going to go bad. And I don't know if you've been to Alabama, but it is very tropical. It is very humid in there. It's on the coast, so it's very humid. And this is done in the summer. Uh, uh, and yeah, in the trunk in the summer heat. So at least they got their car cleaned professionally for free. Um, but again, that state, the freedom was short lived. The state was so eager to honor veterans. But again, the justice system says fuck veterans. Well, no, they can't say the state. Pickens County justice system says fuck veterans. Because as I have shown you, that's why I do some sort of due diligence before making these videos. But as you can see, a majority of the state either doesn't or is planning on or expresses interest of a veterans court, or one county, Geneva County in Alabama, has a hybrid of drug court and veterans courts. So you can't say it's the whole state. I mean, if you take it in percentages, yeah, then the majority of the state says fuck it. But no, this county in general said fuck it. And I get that it says the state versus the person, but honestly, it's the county versus the person. Not so much the state, but the city and the county against the person. And this system's determination to punish Sean set off a spiral of job loss, homelessness, additional criminal charges, and eventually incarceration in the country's most violent prison system, all for substances legal in states where half of Americans live. Now, I take issue with Alabama being the most violent prison system in the country. I don't believe Alabama has anything on San Quentin or Cincy, where if you don't show allegiance to a gang, you will be killed. If you are housed in another gang's unit, you will be killed. So, I mean, violent, yeah, but not the country's most violent. But that still doesn't mean that he should be in prison, or as I've looked up recently, bring it up real quick. Come on, go away. So here I am searching Alabama corrections. Search for inmates. Up. No. As usual, we go by the last name, Worsley Sean Allen, and he's in the Pitkin County Jail. Born 19, so he is a year older, year younger. Um, so again, we have all his stuff. He's 180, 987 on the way. No known scars, marks, or tattoos. Um, he got 57 days of good time, jail credit 46, and he has 60 months, so 5 years consecutive, Pickens County, total term. He served 4 months of that, so, I mean, and he was admitted this year. That's the shit part about it. And it's his only offense is possession of marijuana. He got 5 years. Um, and if I could, I'll probably do that tomorrow. Um, but yeah, 5 years for possession of marijuana, and he now has a felony. I wonder what that's doing to his benefits. And of course, it's gonna fuck with his housing and stability and all that. But they had to drive back home to Arizona, and yeah, they couldn't maintain housing and stability because they have felonies against them. Uh, Although I do wonder if it got overlooked because Arizona is a veteran-friendly state. If it got overlooked because of the VA, probably not. If they were having problems with stability, um, so they moved to Nevada, where they acquired a home and lived peacefully while their case progressed. Almost a year later, a bail bondsman called, told the Worsley's judge was revoking bonds on all the cases he managed. He said that they had to rush back or he would lose the money he had put up for their bond, and they would be charged with failing to appear in court. If anyone knows that, if you don't make it back into court after you've gotten bail money to get out, or bond money, but bail. If you don't appear in court, they use that money that they're out. They use that money that you gave them to cover, um, for a bounty hunter to come find you. Um, and yeah, I've done it many times. All right, my back's hurting. Um, So they felt the bondsman had been kind to them when they were in Pickens County, so they borrowed money to make the trip and hit the road. They were into court the next day. When they got to court, the Worsleys were taken to separate rooms. So this is my problem with it, because first of all, that's his caregiver. And in the blog, I'm writing that they should have rescheduled her court time instead of having them be back to back. They should have had him go first and do her court date right after his. But of course, because they wanted to dispense justice quickly, and he probably didn't want to be doing what he was doing that day. So they were taken to separate rooms. Ebony was horrified. She explained to the court, to the defense lawyer, that he was disabled with serious cognitive issues. He had PTSD and needed a guardian to help him understand the process, and ensured that he made an informed decision. And if a legal guardian couldn't be appointed, she offered to serve as his advocate in court because she was his caregiver at home. So this is where I say BS to the court system, because it is. It's BS. The VA, the federal government, will say that she can be a caregiver to him and be his advocate in all decisions that he makes, but Pickens County says fuck you and fuck that, fuck him and fuck the federal government. They told her no and put her in a separate room from him. So that's the county saying fuck the government, fuck veterans right there. This is why I say it's not so much the state as it is the government, because it is. It really is. This is dirtbaggery at the highest order. This is why I say that whoever's doing this case really needs to dig into it. They need to. They really need to subpoena Officer Armado or Agarmo and really dig into him into a deposition. They need to depose him. And I think one of the highlights should be why did it take you 5 days to do your arresting report? And as soon as he catches himself in a lie, press charges on him. I'm not a tit for tat person, but no, this is BS. You goddamn well know that you could have gotten that shit done by the end of your shift, but you didn't. You waited 5 fucking days, and I had to respond to calls. That's not how this works, bro. That's not how this works. I don't care if your county and if your city allows you certain rights that you think you have. There are professionals in the military and in federal law enforcement who have to get that in ASAP. And you take your sweet fucking time. And your excuse is probably how many calls you've had on shift. You can't do it all. Okay, fine. Then hand it off to somebody who can. And then make a note. Make your notations for that officer to do the job that you can't do, that you are unable to do, you are unwilling to do, or the fact that you are too fucking lazy to do. Okay? You're not going by the fucking book. And this is what pisses me off, is because I probably glossed over this when I was looking at Stars and Stripes, because it said black veteran, black disabled veteran, arrested. I'm like, whatever. And then I saw this in the video, and then I read that article, and then I read Stars and Stripes, and yeah, this to me is a miscarriage of justice and needs to be corrected. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry, I had to get coffee. But yeah, this is them basically saying no, fuck you if you're a veteran and have something wrong with you. Um, locked in separate rooms, and is what he told the researcher. Basically, if he didn't want to sign a plea agreement, that you would have to stay incarcerated until December. And oh no, sorry, that's what she said. She said, Ebony said this to the researcher. Basically, if if he didn't sign a plea agreement, that they would have to stay incarcerated until December, and they would charge her with the same charges as they charged him. He said because of that, he just signed it, and I agree. I fully believe that this happened. I don't think this is being made up. I really don't. I don't believe this is made up, because the way that they've already stipulated it, um, you know, yeah, he doesn't get anything as a veteran. He does just fuck it. So yeah, why don't I believe that they made him sign a plea agreement so that they wouldn't charge her with the same crime, plus stay in jail until December. So no, I don't feel that that is not warranted or not. No, um, I mean I can't say that I know that for sure, but I can tell you that yeah, they probably fucking put the screws on it. I wouldn't doubt it. They probably did. Sean's plea agreement included 60 months of probation, drug treatment, thousands of dollars in fines, fees, and court costs. Because the Worsleys had lived in Arizona at the time of their arrest, his probation was transferred to Arizona. Oh, not Nevada, where I'm sure that the lawyer that they were in touch with had told the court that they had moved to Nevada. Something doesn't seem right. Either the lawyer's BS in the family, or the court just doesn't care that they moved. Or maybe that's why he was revoking the bond and telling them that it was on all his cases, but just theirs, because they moved to Nevada from Arizona. I'm just saying. Where they lived, transferring again would mean more lengthy delay and more jail time while the paperwork was sorted out, they were told. I believe that, and this is them. Maybe during the arrest. Sean could not bear to stay. The Worsleys got a 2-week pass from the probation officer in Alabama. Drove home, broke their lease, and packed their things. When they arrived in Arizona, the only housing they could find on short notice were a more costly month-to-month rental. Their funds were depleted, but at least they had a place to stay. Worsleys were ready to start rebuilding their lives, but when they checked in with their Arizona probation officer, they told them that their month-to-month rental did not constitute a permanent address. Really? I'm going to call Arizona probation and find out what was really going on. Because no, that should have been a permanent address, even if it was month to month. Obviously, they're not gonna fucking go anywhere. She would not have. Sorry about that, guys. Internet here. Um, but and told them to contact probation, and it was a prove it for purpose of supervision. Told them to contact probation in Alabama. They did. Alabama probation told them that they would have to return to Pitkin County to sign the paperwork to redo the transfer. They didn't have the money to do that, so they asked their Alabama lawyer if it could be done by proxy and proceeded with attempting to comply with the other terms of Sean's probation. So among those was drug treatment. He had been an Alabama resident. Well, if he had been an Alabama resident, Sean would have participated in mandatory programming through Alabama's court referral, one of several diversion programs operating across state. The terms of his probation required him to seek similar services where he lived. So in February 2018, Sean went to the VA to take an assessment for placement in drug treatment. Shocker, the VA rejected him. A letter from the VA Mental Health Integrated Specialty Services, which, if you don't know what that is, it's alcohol treatment and drug treatment. At smaller VAs, this is what it would be. At a VA like I go to, RMR, it is services, and it's rehabilitation services. It reads in part, Mr. Worsley reports smoking cannabis for medical purposes and has legal documentation to support his use, and therefore he does not meet criteria for a substance abuse use disorder or meet need for substance abuse treatment. The Worsleys maintained contact with their Alabama lawyer and probation officer as best as they could. Things were difficult. Ebony, a certified nursing assistant who works with traumatized children, had a job offer rescinded due to his to the felony charge in Alabama. She also lost her clearance to work in sensitive information, work with sensitive information, in which she needed access to do her job for a while. They slept in their car or lived with the family. So by now, they couldn't afford on his VA checks uh, to even pay their rent. So they probably got kicked and they had to sleep in the car or live with family. So they were essentially homeless because of this county. Um, and yes, I am blaming the county uh, because if they would have tossed this into a misdemeanor, found that it's not her marijuana, so they won't charge her with it, and the pills are hers, even though they're not in a prescription bottle, even though she probably had the bottle with it. She was just metering out like she does for him what she takes a day. I mean that in itself should be a sign that, oh hey, they're not selling this crap. It's for their use. This is where I say it gets dicey. This is where I blame the county. This is where I blame the city and county's justice system, because you literally had a wife roll over on the husband um, because it suited your purposes. And as much as I try not to make this anything racial, I mean, this has me convinced that yeah, this happened because they were black. Um, but then again, knowing that certain counties just don't care about veterans, and certain law enforcement agencies and departments don't care about veterans, why should I even give them the time of day and give them credit for something that could have either been avoided, or they could have kept it the lowest possible? And they didn't want to. They wanted to upgrade everything so that they got a good conduct and everything was right. I mean, the fact that this judge had to re-examine all his cases tells you that this judge probably was having them stuff shit into these cases, and he probably was and is found. And I'm hoping that they unseated him and just sit him back into the law, or disbarred him. I would take a disbarring at this point for his decision that he did with this. Um, so they requested assistance from a program that helps um, homeless veterans. They complete the 6-month program. The VA notified Sean that his benefits would stop because Alabama had issued a fugitive warrant for his arrest. Unknown to Sean, he had missed a February court date in Pickens County, um, and the supervision program terminated his supervision, citing failure to attend and failure to pay court-ordered monies. The case was referred to the district attorney's office in March 2019. So I'm going to say, fuck you, Mr. District Attorney. And I don't know if the lawyer got in contact for them. I don't think he did. And this brings up something else too. Is when you exacerbate your defense attorneys, your state defense attorneys, by putting veterans in with the regular population, all you're doing is making it harder for people to be defended. All right, this is to me, this is unconscionable. I don't know how this district attorney, or how this judge, or how this police officer, I'm going to say it. I don't usually say this, but how they can sleep at night, thinking that they did their job. Obviously, they didn't do their job, or else this wouldn't have happened. But the Worsleys were in a terrible situation. Ebony needed heart surgery, and Sean stopped taking on extra gigs so he could help her recover. Rent was expensive, anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a month, and they had a car loan as well. So the cost of that car loan, they were unable to keep up with it. They lost Ebony's truck. They lost. Okay, so this it skips. So it'll give the misery line, then it'll give the explanation. Um, but yeah, they basically lost her truck, probably paid off, used as collateral, lost the home, and had to move into a temporary rental, paying $400 a week to live in the suburb, about an hour from the hospital, where Ebony had to have frequent appointments. Sean was able to get his check started up again around 2019, August of 2019, but the financial hole they were in was so deep that he didn't have the $250 to renew his medical marijuana card. It expired. In early 2020, he got pulled over on his way to Ebony's sister's house, where he was going to help with minor repair. This is why I have a problem with this county. They put them in such a financial need that he had to go elsewhere for this. And he got stopped. And again, probably at this time, recreational in Arizona wasn't a thing. And the officers who pulled him over noticed he was terrified, asked why. According to Ebony, he told them everything about his PTSD, his traumatic brain injury, and his expired card, and that he had an outstanding warrant from Alabama. And of course, the police always saying the stupidest shit. Like, don't worry. They're not going to extradite you over a little marijuana. That's not going to happen. It'll be okay. But guess what? The DA calls Alabama and says, hey, this guy's good, right? Because we have him in our state. Don't need to extradite him. He can finish his sentence over here, where we are good and like it. And nope. Alabama wanted him back in Pickens County. And Arizona police told him he ran. He fell. He was taken to jail. Yeah, I wonder why he ran. He's freaking the fuck out. I'm sure those cops feel real bad right now when they see this shit going on. I'm pretty sure they were shaking their heads. You know? And I'm pretty sure it wasn't he ran, he fell. No, he probably bolted like a fucking bag of lightning, and then trying to get somewhere, probably like a girder or something like that, he fell because he was not in his mind. He was escaping something. Do I know what? No. That's why I'm saying something. And they had to take him to jail. And on top of that, he was transported from Arizona to Alabama at the cost of Alabama. Oh, hold up. Ready for this one? At the cost of $4,345. And the state itself put that on top of what he already owned. So $4,345 on top of $3,833.40. Yeah, they're not getting out of this fucking mess. Are you fucking kidding me? You stupid motherfuckers. Sean has been in the county jail since early 2020, and like I showed you, he is still in the jail. They're not sending him to prison, and he'll spend 60 months in the Department of Corrections, but I mean, he's just he's in jail. He's not in the prison. He's in the jail. Although I believe that's what they mean is on the way to prison. So they're still keeping him in jail right now. So over the last 3 years, there have been robust efforts in the legislature to modify the laws. A bill legalizing medical marijuana under controlled conditions passed this year. Before the session ended because of COVID-19, reclassifying possession of 2 ounces or less as a civil offense passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee in 2019, reforms that could have created a vastly different outcome. Yeah, it could have, but it didn't. No, unless they put his case in there, uh, unless they put his case into it, it's not going to change a fucking thing. And I would have that appeal. I would have his case appealed. And then, uh, and this is stupid, at the same time, lawmakers who support changes to the law undermine the urgency by insisting marijuana possession does not land people in prison. Yes, it does. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. The only people in state prisons on possession of any kind of marijuana are those trafficking with truckloads of it. No, 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 no. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And this Senator Cam Ward, I hope you lose your seat this year. I really do. Because that is the most ignorant fucking statement ever. And here's the problem is his mother had to hire an attorney to appeal the case. And yeah, his case is on appeal. But certainly in the next several weeks, it is July 24th, and he's on the way to prison. Not yet. He's still in jail. Um, okay. Will almost certainly go to prison. His transport there will be delayed due to COVID-19. It has sickened prisoners at several facilities, killed at least 5. He'll be quarantined for a couple of weeks at the Draper Correctional Facility, which has been condemned as unsafe and unsanitary for occupation, then refurbished for COVID-19 quarantines this year, assuming he's well, will then be released to whatever prison will have space for him. Um, oh, wow. Alabama's entire prison system for men has been found by the U.S. Department of Justice in violation of the Eighth Amendment prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment. Uh, a U.S. District Judge has deemed its mental health services horrendously inadequate. It is almost certain Sean's mental health will decline further in prison. The Alabama Department of Corrections, which has the highest homes. I will have to see that. Click on this. So it's in violation of the Constitution in Alabama. Understaffing, inappropriate safe housing designations, create an environment with violence, extortion, drugs, and weapons. So 9 people in this year have been murdered in prisons. All right. So um, yeah. Again, CC, Rikers Island, um, the other one? The other one is San Quentin. Have more than that, and I'm not saying that he's safe and everything else. No, um, because he's not. He has two children from a prior relationship, 12 and 14, and they're already struggling with his abs. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? Their father is gone. Why wouldn't they be having problems? Are you serious? And she is due to actually have another surgery. So, okay. So in a letter from the jail to the theme, um, he's despair of being away from his children and Ebony, feels humiliated having to call them from jail. Of course, who wouldn't? Crushed that he is, as he put it, letting them down. And that is one thing I think is important for everybody, especially veterans, is you feel like you've served your country, you've done everything honorably, and you get put in jail and you've let everybody down. That's the biggest feeling I ever hear from people, from veterans who are in jail or prison, is that they've let people down. Not so much that it's the crime that put them there, but they let them down by being in there, by making poor decisions. Which I honestly, I this is why I say, this is why in the beginning I said that both should have done their due diligence. And guess what? Um, I don't fault her for being excited that they were going to their families. I don't feel that this all has to be on her, because the court and the judge could have done his due diligence and seen that the VA is not going to allow somebody who's has medical marijuana, a license for medical marijuana, to go through treatment. I don't get how you as a judge couldn't have done your due diligence. A part of you doing these cases is your due diligence, and if not you, then somebody in your chambers could have done their due diligence. The fucking DA could have done their due diligence, but they didn't. Instead, they found this as an opportunity to fuck somebody over, and I do blame you, the DA of Pickens County. I do blame you, the judge who did rule over this court. I blame you in the Alabama legislature for not having laws that will help um, veterans. Uh, I blame the fact that they couldn't have transferred them to a county that has a veterans court. And then uh, he feels like he's being thrown away by a country he went and served for. Yeah, I would too. I really would. If I found out that there were veterans courts in other counties and they wouldn't transfer me to that county to get help, seek help, and they could have done their fucking due diligence, unlike these idiots, and he could have stayed in the VA, in that county, uh, and done all of that. But no, 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 fuck the military, fuck the veterans, and I feel like I lost parts of me in Iraq, parts of my spirit and soul that I can never get back. Everybody leaves a part of them in the places that they serve. This is why I go more on, instead of the social justice aspect, the veteran aspect, because it's true. You leave parts of you in places that you visit, that you protect your bases, your service members. You do. You're not ever coming back whole. It doesn't matter if it's a good place or a bad place. You still leave yourself there because you have fond or shitty memories of that place. And I feel bad because, I'm going to say Sergeant Ellis, feels the same way. You go over there, you come back messed up, and you're targeted. He said, and that's what hurts the most. And it does. And I want to thank, again, I want to thank I want to thank Leah Nelson at the Alabama Appleseed Center for Law and Justice for responding to me and telling me that she doesn't think that she is the best fit for this podcast because she's a civilian and not a veteran, and that her work is not specialized in veterans issues, but it's more aligned with the social justice reform, so race, politics, all that. But Miss Nelson, if you do watch this video and someone tells you, oh, hey, you're mentioned in this video, you watch this and you feel differently, please, you have the podcast email. Send me an email. Let's schedule you for a Thursday or Friday. Let's get you on here. I don't care if you are a civilian. I do not care if what this is not veterans. If it is just racial justice and politics, we'll go from that angle for you, and I'll just add the veteran caveats in it. And honestly, I will softball everything for you. I may keep it a little bit tough and difficult. But yeah, I don't care what your supposition is on this. You wrote a very fantastic article. And that is why I wanted to contact you. And so I want to leave off. This is the map. This is the county. There is nothing. They could have transferred him to Tuscaloosa, where he could have gotten the help that he needed. And yeah, it still would have been hard on him to be away from his family while he does therapy. And all that at the VA. But at the same time, it would help him. It wouldn't hurt him, it would help him. They wouldn't have had as many problems as they do now. And that's the sad part about it. Now, the other thing I wanted to do is this. Apparently, in Alabama, the only common legal areas where veterans may need assistance is bankruptcy, consumer protection, family law, probate law, property law, and tax law. Really? That's it? Nothing else? I'm sure drug abuse and other things would consider you up there for veterans' needs. I think you're just soft pitching this from 2014, honestly. And then under Alabama law, who qualifies as a veteran? A veteran is anyone who served on active duty during any war which the United States has been engaged. The individual can be commissioned, enlisted, inducted, appointed, or mustered into the military. Military service includes naval service. No shit. That's why we have a United States Navy. This is what got me. Military service includes naval service. So I need them to be more explicit. They need to redo this and be more explicit. Military service includes naval service, aka, or etc., U.S. Coast Guard. We'll go with Merchant Marines, things like that. Of course, military service includes naval service. That's why we have a United States Navy. Is Alabama saying that they don't observe the U.S. Navy as a military branch or department? Because it's one of the originals. That, the U.S. Army, those were the original departments of the military. Air Force came in the 1940-something. Marines are considered U.S. Navy. I mean, You know, it's and then it says service member must not have had a dishonorable discharge or release from military service. That can be taken in different ways. That can either be kicked out, like me, discharged because of medical. Um, that's the only two I can think of. So I am not a veteran under Alabama law. So I would not get the same protections as everybody else under Alabama law. I really think that I really think that here, go back here. Uh, that the University Alabama School of Law in Tuscaloosa and the Jones School of Law in Montgomery, the Cumberland School of Law in Birmingham, and the State Bar and Volunteer Lawyers Program need to re-update this. I really do believe that you guys will need to re-update this from 2014 to 2020. Because this basically tells me that most veterans in your state, Marines, Army, Air Force, do not get privileges as veterans. And it's not that we expect them; it's what was promised to us. And whether or not we complete 4 years does not make a difference. We serve the military, put our name on the dotted line. We swore up and down that we would protect this country from internal and external threats. I'm not doing this video for the benefit of anybody other than Mr. Worsley and Mrs. Worsley. And if you do know Ebony Worsley, if you can give me an email or get in contact with her, I would like to do a show with just me and her. Leah, if this comes to your attention and you watch this video, will you please come back, give me a reply. And yeah, if you want to sue, you can go ahead and sue me for using your article. I will take that. I'll get back on the video. I will delete it off YouTube, and I will probably put you in a video where I go off on you. That's just the way this happens. When you do a show about veterans, you advocate for veterans. And this is, and I would love to have you on because you are an advocate. I don't care if it's social justice, if it's race, politics, identity, I don't care. You are an advocate. You will put yourself in the advocacy, whether it's because he's black or not, doesn't matter. You will put yourself in the seat as a veteran advocate by releasing the information on him. So I would love to have you on. I love everybody who watches and listens to this, and I thank you. I also want to thank the amazing Lucas. If it wasn't for your video and the little research that I did for this video, I probably would have looked the other way on this. As everyone knows, I'm Japanese Irish, and my family did go into the internment camps in World War II. And because my family did not raise me to delegate myself on my race, I don't like racial issues. I really don't. I get into that in Apolitical Corner, where I go more into it. and that's where I do identity politics, and me, myself, my family's experience. Um, and I'm sick of it because my family didn't get to where they are by oh, we're Japanese, we're small minority, we're this, we're Asians, we're everything. They didn't do that. They got out of the camps. They faced the racism like they would before that, which is fine. If you don't like me or my family or the people I'm serving to, don't come in, don't talk to me, don't do any of that. Um, and yeah, we are in a time where it seems like anything is always about race and who can be the first one to the finish line with the victim politics. And I'm just stating for this show that I do not care if Sean is white or black. The next one I'm going to do is that's free and not behind the paywall. Is I'm going to try to get in contact with that veteran or with that retired officer who was in Portland and took it to the face. I want to get his. I don't want to look at look at the um, what do you call it? I don't want to look at the news because the news will go with the same thing that I went with this, and I don't want it. I get where he's coming from. Yeah, it probably wouldn't have been a big issue if he wasn't white, but at the same time, he stood up. He did something that people rarely do as veterans. He stood up. And whether or not he would have gotten his recognition does not matter because he didn't do it for recognition. He did it for what was right. And I think that's great. And I want to do what's right for Mr. Worsley and Mrs. Worsley. I want to make sure that Sean can get a fairer benefit, and show that maybe Alabama should change their law. And instead of allowing 5 days for a police department, how small, how big, to file a report is immoral, and B, that would say pretty much illegal. You detain these people for 5 days, finished out your police report, got them in to see a judge after day 6. No, no. I understand that expediency is 30 days, but even still, they weren't in there for a prior offense. They were just in there for that offense. And the fact that you put them in jail for 6 days really shows what you fucking feel about veterans and shows the disrespect you have for any kind of law. This is the occasion where I'm not going to side with law enforcement. I'm not going to side with the county. And it does not matter what I feel or how I feel, because they're going to keep doing it until they're checked. So I think what I'll do is I will send email over to the Justice Department and see if they will investigate. I'm hoping that my viewers, once you get a better, once you do your own due diligence as far as all of this, that if you feel the same way I do, please send in the email to the Justice Department. I will have that in the links later. Give me a few days to actually get that email. You can Google it. I'll Google it. So, but yeah, if you feel the same way I do, yeah, send an email to the Justice Department. I think I'm also going to get in contact, send an email to the FBI, and I'm going to once again send another email to my representative about this. And also, not to take away from Sean and Ebony, but if you guys have noticed, there was another person killed at Fort Hood. Or, I'm sorry, not killed, but dead at Fort Hood. He drowned. I would like to make a video about that because I would like to know where the hell his buddy was. when he decided to take a swim and drowned. I would like to know who was with him when this happened. Yeah, he's not a veteran, but it's still an issue that veterans are, chiming about. What if it had been them? What if any of these incidents had been them? I don't blame them. I do not blame them at all. Wondering that. So again, thank you guys for listening to this me rant and Raven. Look into it. Do your own research. If you think I'm right, please send an email to the Justice Department. Send the email to the FBI. Let's get this sorted away for our brother. I know that they had a GoFundMe. It's already reached what it needed to be. Let me find that real quick. Okay. Already reached what they wanted. It was for let's see here. It was for Sean. And if you agree with me and you're a resident of Alabama, also remember that elections are coming up, guys. So we can kick these disparities out. Do know I didn't do this because it was requested. I did this because after watching the video, I wanted to find out what was going on. And I feel bad for both of them because this is a joke. This is a joke, and I believe that if um, sorry, I'm trying to do both things at the same time. But yeah, no, I feel that this is a joke. This is a miscarriage of justice, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be your opinion. That's what makes veterans, a great thing, is because we don't always agree. Um, and so we don't always agree, and we're never going to agree on everything. And whether he was a combat veteran or not doesn't matter. We all know that. What matters is that he's a brother in arms. And, we need to, as a family, either get behind each other when we feel like we need it, and I feel like that this is needed. Um, I feel like this is needed. This is needed, um, not for special privileges, but it is needed. So this is the GoFundMe. Um, and as you can see, they raised over their goal. Um, and this is all going to Sean. Um, and I did send an email, and I want to play this video um, for us. I'm sorry, Ebony. If I'm not allowed to, I did try to contact you. If you do know the Worsleys, you do know Ebony, you do know Sean, please let them know I'm trying to get a hold of them. Um, and I would like to get a letter from Sean. Uh, and I would like to have Ebony on. But this is the video that I saw, or not that I saw yet. We're all going to see it for the first time. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to be one of them for the sport. But I want you to see why this is trouble. So here we go. again. Set everything up on the computer. So I'll just put it in my blog, what I heard, and you know, I feel, I do feel bad that this had to happen. And I feel bad that this is what it's came down to for the both of them. I really do not feel that this should have happened to them. And I hope that she once again puts another GoFundMe. Um, Other veteran talk news. I'm going to be talking to someone uh, who does, I would say, fashion. He's doing his own clothing line. I'm going to see if he can add a shirt for veteran talk. And I think I'm going to split it 25 to the show, 25 to the Worsleys if I can get a hold of Ebony. I can do it so that they get some money out of this shirt that I'd like to create to raise awareness for Sean. But expect more stuff coming from the show. And, I'm sorry, Ebony and Sean, that this is happening to you. And I hope that the Court of Appeals see that this probably shouldn't have happened. And that either they lower the cost, lower his sentence, or have it moved to Tuscaloosa where he can go and be looked at by one of the veteran treatment courts. I believe that's best for Sean. Rather than sending him to prison like they do every veteran who's been out of wars and has acted up because of PTSD or PTS as Zero Block 30 is calling it now. But yeah, this shouldn't have happened, and that's what I'm saying. That's the official stance of the show is this shouldn't have happened. I hope every listener, viewer, either agrees or doesn't agree, and will give me notice on why. But I don't think this should have happened, and I'm going to swear by that, even after I get the discovery and see all the charges or anything like that. If you are a veterans advocacy group or a lawyer for veterans or a veteran who became a lawyer in Alabama and you have knowledge of this case, I'm asking you to email the show Vet Talk Victor Echo Tango Alpha Lima Kilo Papa Oscar Delta Charlie Alpha Sierra Tango number 1 at uh, gmail.com. Again, that's VET podcast 1 or VETTALK podcast 1 at gmail.com or vet talk podcast at vet talk podcast 1 at gmail.com. And I hope to hear from everybody soon. And if that article is not allowed, please email me back via, and I will redo this whole video for you, or I will take it down. But I hope that you do give consent after the video is done, and it's up there for people to view and to actually get a hold of you let you know that they're in the fight for Sean. Um, I do know that I'm really going against what the law bridges by doing this video. I know I can be sued, and I know that there is a legality where I can be sued. I am taking this risk because I feel that um, this shouldn't have happened, and that everyone has a right to do what they want with their property. This is her intellectual property. The story that I used, um, and you know, guess what? I used it, and I'll accept the consequences. Thank you, everybody. Again, I will hide this under the paywall. Not this episode, but the episodes in the series, each individual people. It's not going to be that much, honestly. Um, watch these videos. It really isn't. I'm going to make it to where it's either $5 a month and you can watch all the videos, or you can listen to the audio that I record for the series. I'm still checking up on it. I think the individual episodes will be $1.99. I'm trying to keep it cheap. And then it'll basically go towards the episodes will basically go towards the website to keep it up. So I can do the vlogs for both shows. I think series I will put in for $1.99 behind the paywall. And if you have a, I'm going to try to figure this internet thing out. I'm going to talk to others about how they do these websites. But I believe if I can get the subscription process going, you can get those episodes without having to pay for the news store. I'm gonna figure this out, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the shade that's going on right now. I'm covering my face. Um, yeah, nothing I can do about that. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You guys are awesome. I love you.